Who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me, Mike Lepre, King Michael. This is Legit Fantasy Football brought to you by LegitPodcast.com. It is August 20th, 2023. The football scene is going to be a reality really, really soon. The weather's changing. It's getting footballish. Joining me as always, Brother Ray. What's up, Brother Ray?
What's going on? How we doing? Getting ready for some football?
Oh, yeah. I'm in my Mark Bavaro jersey. I was setting up all my Giant stuff. I'm wearing the beat up, dirty Super Bowl champion hat when we beat the Patriots. One of the times we beat the Patriots. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of selling of memorabilia on the Whatnot app. And what ends up happening is I end up in football conversations with these people. And oh, man, like, oh, God help us. Like Eagle fans and people like that, they just come out of nowhere and they just, ugh. So let's start off with this. How do you feel about this upcoming season? Like, do you feel like the NFC has like 4 good teams? In all honesty, like off the top of your head, when you think of the NFC, who could be in the Super Bowl? If you just think right now, just blank. I would say like the Lions, Eagles,
49ers.
Giants. Yeah, see, they're one of the ones that I have trouble with, and I'll tell you why I have trouble with the 49ers. I have trouble with the 49ers because I don't like the quarterback. I don't like him. Like I don't like him yet. I think their defense is amazing, right? I just don't. I don't know if I like the quarterback. So in the AFC, you missed my prediction. For the AFC East, I've mapped out actually the standings for AFC East and NFC East. The AFC East. Tell me where I'm wrong on this. In first place is going to be the New York Jets. Second place will be the Miami Dolphins. Third place is going to be the Buffalo Bills. And in last place will be the New England Patriots. What are your thoughts on that? What would you switch up? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the way I'm looking at this is I think Rodgers is a great addition, but I think we've already seen some instances. I think the problem is going to be Hackett. They brought over Hackett from Denver, and I know Rodgers has a lot of experience with him, but they have the talent. If you look top to bottom,
Dalvin Cook in the backfield, for crap's sake.
Dalvin Cook. I mean, the returning rookie of the year at wide receiver, a healthy Breece Hall,
Garrett Wilson. Yeah.
I mean, their line, I think, is the biggest test. If their line can improve, I think they have a shot. Their defense is probably going to be top 3, so they have all the tools.
Lazard went there. Did you know that? Yeah, I didn't know that. I was like, I mean, know.
Rodgers needs his safety valve. I think Cobb is there too. So he has his safety valve. He has the coaches that he coached with. The question will be the offensive line. And if their head coach, Saleh, if he can actually guide them to a division crown, because the Bills are still going to be there. The Dolphins should be better. And I think the Patriots are going to surprise a lot of people. I think the Patriots, if Mac Jones can play a decent game, don't forget, he didn't have an offensive coordinator last year. He had a bunch of stumble bums that were pretending to be OCs. He's got a real offensive coordinator this year, coming from Alabama, O'Brien.
But it's the first time in the offense, though. It's still his first time in a new offense, is what it is for me. He got a coordinator. Yeah, he got a coordinator, but it's a new offense. Like they got to run.
Not really, because he was with O'Brien in Alabama, and O'Brien ran the same offense at Alabama. So this is actually good for Mac Jones. So I put the Patriots as a team that could finish second, maybe first. You don't know. That defense is going to be rock solid, and they picked up Zeke, so they're going to run the ball.
Yeah,
I hate to say it.
Zeke doesn't excite me at all. And I'm telling you, the Patriots will be last in that division. The Jets are that good, I think. The Bills have the Madden curse going for them this year for Josh Allen. That's my theory on that.
How stupid.
Yeah, I would never be on the cover of Madden, by the way, if asked.
It's not worth the money. It's not worth it.
But I mean, even if it was like me, I wouldn't be on it for all the publicity and fame, I would probably end up blowing out a knee or something would happen. It is not worth it. But
Yeah, I'd blow a knee like going to the bathroom or something, like.
well, I hurt my neck if I look really quick to one way. Like if somebody if the Brady Bunch drops the briefcase and I go like this, I could pull something. I'm that old. All right. I have this this thingamajiggy thing. It ranks fantasy players. All right. Because you are the fantasy guru, and you know all that is fantasy. Who would you say in a let's help people out in a draft, right? They're in a draft, okay? I think listed here is 1, 2, 3, 6, 9. I see 12, maybe 15, 18. Let's say 21, 24. Let's say there's like 20. I don't know if there's like, Christ almighty, there's gonna be about 20, 30 players here, right? Some are where the S's Ray is super elite. Then there's the A players, the B players, the C players, and the D players. All right. And these are people you should be looking for in the draft early in your fantasy draft. Are we on the same page?
Yeah, I think I understand it.
All right. So who would you say qualifies as super, as you should take him in the first round? No doubt.
I mean, let's start at wide receiver. Justin Jefferson has to be in that tier.
Is that him right?
There he is, 18.
Right. All right. So
Right
Justin
next to him.
Jefferson. Now, I had a theory that I feel like fantasy football affected the real NFL. In other words, fantasy football started to devalue running backs and value wide receivers, and then so did the NFL. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
weird timing, right?
Yeah, the running backs don't make the money anymore. I mean, you see it with holdouts. You see it with, I mean, even Cook going over to the Jets. I mean, didn't get the big payday that he was looking for, and he's a stud. Like they just have completely devalued running backs. Very few bell cows, and it's a passing game.
Yeah. It's just got weird though. It's like fantasy changed, and then the real NFL changed. All right, so I would say next you'd have to put Jamar Chase. He wears number 1, right?
Yes.
I think Jamar Chase is would be considered super, an early pick. Would you agree on that?
They're 1 and 2. They're very close. Both of those guys are very, very close.
Who else would we put in this group?
I mean, just looking at it right now, I think if I want to go quarterback here, I think you put Joe Burrow in that category.
So you would take Joe Burrow early in a draft?
Yes, I would.
All right, let's see where is he? Where is
Number
Joe
10. Go low. He's got the LSU. Is that the LSU? No, is that a Packer?
That's a Packer.
All right. Where is he?
Isn't this it's him right here?
There he is.
Joe Burrow. All right. So you can understand what you're doing right now is probably against like 99% or 90% of what people do in a draft. Everybody says, don't take a quarterback. Everyone says that. Don't take a quarterback. Just wait for a quarterback. But you're saying if Joe Burrow is there, take him.
Oh, actually, I'm not. This isn't a first round draft. I'm picking who I think are the super fantasy players. Like a Burrow, Burrow, Mahomes. A lot of people are starting to take him in the first round now. It used to be a rule.
Would you put him here though?
Yeah, put him in the 8th thing if that's the case, because the rule used to be you can wait on quarterbacks, hold off, but in certain leagues, a Burrow, a Mahomes, a Hurts, I dare say, you may want to, depending on the league scoring, you may want to take that, especially at the end of the first round. Like if you're coming back and it's a snake draft and you have 12 and 13, it's not a bad move to take like a Mahomes, Kelsey, if they're there, like to do something like that. People will, they're going to scoff at, they're going to scoff at you, but it's a good move.
So I agree with you. And that brings up a point. We recently had a draft in our league, a trade. I mean, so when we're in a 12-team league where we keep 6 keepers, right? Each team. That's 72 of the best, should be of the best football players off the board. You would think. Close, right? First round, another 12 comes out. You're at 84, right? In my opinion, once you hit the 85s, it's all a crapshoot, all waiver wire people, right? The trade that was made in our league was Jalen Hurts, in like a third rounder or something like that, for Christian Kirk and the 110, which would be the 82nd pick, and then like a bunch of other picks that are in later rounds that to me don't matter. How and why would that trade be made? Like, why would you trade Jalen Hurts for Christian Kirk and a 1 first-round pick?
Well, the reason why that particular owner made that trade is because he also had Justin Herbert on
He's
the.
already traded
on his
him
roster.
first. He already traded or did he trade for Herbert? He
No,
traded for Herbert.
he traded for Herbert, and he already
All
had
right,
Hurts.
but value-wise, you
Does
don't
not
think
make
he could
any
have got better
sense
than
at all.
Christian Kirk? You don't think he could have got better than Christian Kirk for
Oh,
trading Hurts?
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, if you're trading one of the probably one of the best fantasy quarterbacks in the game, someone who can run the ball, who's going to get you the rushing yardage,
Yeah.
who's just growing in that offense.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we're talking about that owner, he's made some questionable trades. I think the trade for Herbert and Andrews was probably worse, being that he already had Pitts. So now
Yeah.
he's got Pitts and Andrews sitting on his roster. You can only keep 6.
Yep.
Are you going to keep
2 tight ends.
tight ends?
That's therein lies my point, though. So, yeah, but Jalen Hurts for Christian Kirk, like, what would you have given up for Jalen Hurts? That's my whole point. Like, you would have gave up a much better player than Christian Kirk.
Yeah, the house.
So, and this is something that happens in all fantasy leagues. Every fantasy owner I've spoken to, it's going on in their leagues. Trades are made between odd people, and trades are not made to everyone because no one wants to get fleeced or burnt or that whole thing. And then on top of that, like I messaged you earlier, no one ever counter trades. No one ever offers a counter offer. Like, I've noticed that every trade you send people, have they ever sent you back a counter?
No.
In the last couple of years?
No, that's if they even respond.
But that's that's another issue, of course. But my point is, right, if they don't respond, that's that one thing. But the second thing is, whenever I get a trade offer, I'll look at it, and then I'll send back a counter of what I think it should be. I counter every single trade I receive. Everyone else I send a trade to, they just go no, and it doesn't move from there.
Yeah, and I think like in this league, for example, I won't mention any names, but I tried to get the first pick, and I offered basically the house. We all know that the first pick is Bijan Robinson. There's no doubt. There's no question. So this owner who got the first pick, I made that offer, and the response was, "Oh, let me check rosters and players," and that's fine. But for me, like if I'm going to just take Bijan Robinson, I'm going to take Bijan Robinson, and I'm just going to say, sorry, I'm taking the player, and that's it. Like, I'm not even going to entertain it. If you are going to entertain it, then
entertain it
to get a pretty good score for one of the best running back prospects to come out in the last 10 to 20 years.
Yeah. I don't even know. Like, again, so there should be counter offers. We agree on that, right?
Oh, there's no doubt.
All right. Yeah.
However, but sometimes in this league, because it's a keeper, if someone's offering multiple players, but you're trying to like get picks and get rid of players, then it doesn't work. But you can still come up with something that may work if it fits in the confine of what owner A and owner B want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but again, it is borderline impossible to do trades.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is.
Borderline impossible to make trades.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the thing is this: everyone that I've spoken to has said the same thing to me. I'm good with my 6. And then you look at their team and you go, "Are you good with your 6? Like, really? You're just good with your 6? Everybody's looking for picks. I don't get the fact that they don't understand that a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick is Ugasangab when it comes to really little players. Like, we're really deep in the weeds. Like, give me a break. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crapshoot mostly in those rounds. It's not like there's not a lot of gems. They usually should be on the keepers, or they should go in the 1st and 2nd round. In the next 24 picks, that gets up to 96 picks. By that point, Ray, all the good players should be off the board. It's almost the top 100. You know what I'm saying?
They should be. I mean, the other thing though, and I will argue on the other side, is that with more picks, you do have a better chance of filling out your roster and getting players before the players can fill those fill those spots. So, in a sense, if you make the right picks, that could be a good thing. However, let me just say that, I've had plenty of drafts where I've had, a lot of picks. If you don't make them count or you get unlucky,
Yeah,
and it doesn't work.
Because it's more of a crap that the value of draft picks in a 12-team 6-keeper league is so overinflated. It's the anti-Tom Brady ball. That's where it's at. It's like so blown up. Like, a 4th round pick is garbage. It's like a 10th round pick. You know what I'm saying? And they value it like it's a real 4th round pick. Like, there's going to be all these people available. I can't get past it.
No,
Yeah,
the 4th round is you're scraping the bottom of the barrel. You're trying to get depth. You're throwing dice against the wall.
Mostly, if you tracked it, I bet you all the people that are drafted 4th or on are just waiver wire fodder every single week. That's just what happens. There's like 4 or 5 guys that you're just going to keep dropping, pick up, drop, pick up. You need those guys.
And let's frame this right for the viewers. This is a 6-team keeper league, 6-player keeper league with 12 teams. So
72 players.
72 keeping 6. And then, first round, it's mostly rookies and free agents and people that were let go. So you may, like, we had a rare instance last year where Josh Jacobs was cut. Of course, he goes right in front of me in the draft, and, he turns into Jim Brown. So,
but it's mostly rookies. Like you said, guys that like jump to another team or somebody doesn't trust them and they dropped them and they cut them. You know what I mean?
That's what it is. And that's the first round. So, and then it gets really thin after that. It gets really, really thin.
So where I stand right now, I don't have a pick until the 7th round, right? Literally in this year's draft. But I do have as my 6 keepers, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, and Deebo Samuels. Those 6 alone, right, have me at the top of the power rankings in the preseason on our site. It's so stupid. Like, I lost last year. I didn't make the championship. But power ranking wise, my team would be number 1 if I get to keep everybody, but I can't. So those are 6 like you keep, or if you trade one, you replace it with somebody that's worthy to be in that 6. You see what I'm saying? Like, finally going into a season with a solid 6 makes me comfortable. I don't care about the draft picks. I'll figure out the rest of the team, right? One more receiver, a tight end, you know what I mean? A flex, and then a quarterback. And there's 32 starting quarterbacks. So it's like, I don't know. It's more about the keepers, I think. I'm sounding to go that way. To me, it's more about having the best possible 6 and not trying to roll the dice with all kinds of draft picks and put together some sort of like power team. But I don't know. I haven't been right yet. So what am I to say? All right. Where would we put? Let's go with where is he? I want to find. Oh man. All right. So let's do a little DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf. Where would you put him? Would he go in the 1st round? Would he go in the 2nd round?
I mean, let's put it this way: talent-wise, I'd put him in the A, borderline S. But the issue that we have in Seattle right now is that there are now a lot of mouths to feed. You have Lockett, you have Jackson, the rookie, Smith-Njigba. I mean, it's going to be a crowded offense, and they're a team too that could make noise in the playoffs if you look at what they have in that roster. with Geno Smith, his resurgence.
But that
So
way, but you just said it. You just said it. You said the name that makes me go, aha. It's Geno Smith. Like, Geno played a whole year this year. Other teams got a full year of tape now on the new Geno. I think Geno struggles. I don't think he's that good, Ray. I never thought he was that good. He's just got a lot of talented receivers around him. I'll agree with that.
if you look at Geno, you got to understand. If you look where Geno Smith came from, Geno Smith.
Oh, I know where he came from.
You know what team he started with, right?
Oh yeah, and then he ruined Eli Manning's Iron Man streak. He's the guy who started in place of Eli Manning. That broke his streak of consecutive games. What's his name?
People
Benson.
forget how good he was at West Virginia. He was off the charts, ridiculous at West Virginia. He has everything talent-wise that you want in a quarterback as far as arm talent. So I don't think it was a hoax. I think Geno is for real. And if you look at what he did last year, I think he's a big-time bargain this year because there's still going to be people saying, Geno, he got lucky. He had a fluke year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was a fluke.
Yeah. I just don't like him for breaking Eli's streak. So I already have that grudge with the guy. So I want to see him fail. Like, that's where I'm at with Geno. Like, I don't like him at all.
So getting back to DK, I think where you have him right now works. Talent-wise, he's better than that. But there's too many mouths to feed there now.
All right. Jonathan Taylor.
He's got to go top. He's got to go all the way at the top. Now, the issue there is
he going to play?
Is he going to play? I think what's probably going to happen is at some point they may trade him, which is better for him.
Yes, it is.
If they do trade him.
Yes, it is.
That offense, let's be honest.
Awful.
Not going to be good.
Awful. Like, legitimately awful. Like, what they got around that poor guy, he's getting like Barry Sanders, or he's getting done like Detroit did Megatron and Sanders. Just have somebody really good just get beat up the whole time. You know what I mean?
It's going to be tough. Yeah, they're going to be. It's a rebuilding year. Richardson's going to be good eventually. The line's decent, but they don't have the weapons yet.
All right, let's go with Josh Jacobs.
He's got to go up there in the S category. He proved it last year. He's still young. He carried that team on his shoulders. I don't understand why he hasn't been paid yet. I don't know what they're thinking. I have no idea what they're thinking. Without him, Jimmy G maybe has 3 games before he's on a gurney.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and there's another quarterback I don't trust. How about your Dolphin receivers? You got 17 is Waddle, and you got 10 Tyreek Hill. Where would you put Hill and Waddle?
I would put Hill and Waddle both in that A category. And I would give a slight edge to Waddle.
Yeah, Waddle is going to start to take that over. I own him in the fantasy league. I don't own him, but he's on my fantasy team. But whenever I watch him play, you can see that he's getting better. Like, he's going to get better. He's going to become the number 1 eventually. But yeah, I think they both would go in that category. All right, I'm with that. Who do we have here? Is this the rookie running back, Bijan Harris?
That's Alabama, right? Though that's Gibbs. Is that Jahmyr Gibbs?
I don't know who this is then. That's Alabama. It's a running back.
It might be Gibbs, yeah, because Gibbs, the rookie from Alabama.
All right, where would you put him?
Right now I would put him in the B category.
All right. Okay.
You know what? That's going to be that team's on the rise. He's very Kamara-like. He's not as small as people think. And he probably has the best hips. Well, probably second best hips out of all the running backs in the draft. Robinson easily has the best hips.
So you think Bijan? Where do you think he's going to be running back wise? Is he better than?
You can take Bijan and put him in that S category right now. Like right now, you can put him in that S category. He's the best running back prospect to come out in the last 20 years. Barkley was the best running back prospect before Bijan. Where Bijan is better is Bijan may not be the athlete and the physical specimen that Saquon is, but he's a pure runner, and his production has been off the charts every single year that he's played.
And where did he play
He
college?
Texas,
So I don't
University of
see
Texas.
I don't see him. Do you see him at all? I don't see him on the thing at
I
all.
don't see
Maybe we'll see
him.
him as we go, but I don't see
He's
him at
with the
all.
Falcons, so I know their
Oh, yeah, right. Is
uniform
he wearing
changed.
number 5? No, he's just catching it. There's another Falcon
No, that's
here.
London. That's Drake. That's Drake London.
No, is this him right here? Or is that Pitts, the other 5?
Where are we?
This guy right here. For the Falcons.
I can't see the
He's not,
what
number
team is it?
55 something. This guy's number 9 on the Falcons. This guy's number 5 on the Falcons. So we'll wait. I don't even know who the Falcons are.
Yeah.
There's some guys I can't even tell who they are. I think this is Breece Hall. I'm led to believe this is Breece Hall.
Yeah, that's a weird situation.
Would you put Breece Hall in a B? Or a C?
I mean,
Cook's there now.
the thing with Breece Hall right now, and by the way, Bijan's number 7. So if you see 7,
All right.
that's his jersey number. Breece Hall, the Jets had an unbelievable draft last year. I mean, Wilson gets Rookie of the Year, but before that, Hall was the favorite to win Rookie of the Year. So they essentially had 2 offensive Rookies of the Year and a defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
In Sauce Gardner. So their draft was historical last year.
Yep. Stunning.
I think Breece Hall eventually, yeah, he's going to be an absolute stud. We saw it last year. I think with Cook there this year and with him coming off an injury, I put him in that B category though.
All right.
Right now. But he's going to shoot up to A.
So let's grab some guys out of the group that I can identify. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, he's like AS for me. Like he's like right there.
Yeah. So what I gotta say is he's gonna have maybe the best year of his career. Saquon Barkley, right? That offensive line can run block at least. And Daniel Jones is gonna be so much more improved this year. That whole offense. Barkley's gonna get so many yards. He's out to prove such a point this year. Like he's legitimately like his goal is to have the greatest season ever by a running back. And he's probably gonna leave the Giants after that, sign a big contract. Like that's what he's out to prove. And he's healthy and the kid is a beast. So I'd be happy with him in the S's, but I could accept him being in the A's.
I think he's borderline. I think he's right. He's right on that cusp. He another guy who carried them last year, but I think they're going to be a lot better. They had another really good draft. We can talk about some of the rookies that they picked up in a bit, but I know there's one rookie that I am gushing over, and I think
the Giants.
Yeah.
So the Giants in their draft, they've got 2 cornerbacks. They ended up with 2 guys who could probably play in Trey Hawkins and Dante Banks. They also picked up Michael Schmitz-Jingleheimer as a center, right? And they got that defensive lineman, Riley, who's just this big beast of a kid that in the preseason game, everyone was talking about how no one could move him. Like he was just one of those guys in the run game where he just took on whoever he had and he kept the lines, tight, which you're supposed to do as a tackle. Who else did you like from the Giants draft?
If I'm being honest right now, and those guys are great, and I think they're going to be a great addition.
I left one out. Yeah.
The 2 guys I wanted to talk about were Jalen Hyatt and Eric Gray. I think, and unfortunately with Hyatt, I think the cat's out of the bag now. I don't think you're going to be able to sneak him and grab him in the later rounds. I mean, he is so raw as a prospect. He had one really good year at Tennessee, but this is a guy whose best years are ahead of him. And he is the best deep threat coming out of the draft. He will be probably top 3 this year, deep threat in the league. He blocks, he hustles, he wants to learn. He's 6 feet. He put on 30 pounds since the combine.
Mm-hmm.
This kid is going to light it up like no one else.
He was clocked in Giants practice. I know you read this, running at 24 miles per hour. The previous record in the game is Tyreek Hill ran around 23 point something miles per hour. This kid is that fast. In the preseason game that just happened, he drops a catch, and then on the next play, Tyrod Taylor just throws it deep. All you have to do is just throw it to the end zone, and this kid outran everybody. He can outrun, I think, in the league, anybody. He might be the fastest deep threat in the NFL. If he runs 24 miles per hour, how the freak you keeping up with him? Like, seriously, if he gets around you, it's like, oh, nuts. Like, how am I gonna make this speed? Especially if he gets behind you and you're pressing him, so he's got the whole field to keep running.
And the reason he's so good is he's one of the best receivers in this draft getting off the press. That's what's scary, because a lot of times with those fast guys, if people can get their hands on them, they can stop them. But he is really good at getting off the press, and he's learning. Like like intermediate stuff, he's still learning all that. He's, he can't do all 3 layers of the route tree yet, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And when he learns that, forget about it. Forget about it.
He's gonna have stat lines like 2 catches for a touchdown and like 100 yards. You know what I mean? Like that, you might not get a lot of catches out of the kid because he's not even going to start technically. But he's the 4th receiver when we want to go deep. And with the Giants right now, with him, with Wan'Dale Robinson back healthy, who last year I said Wan'Dale was the best wide receiver on that team. He just was. Then he got hurt, right? And then you got Slayton, who Slayton's known for running a 4.4. He's a speed burner.
No slouch.
Darren Waller, who is a unicorn, and Daniel Jones like safety net. And then I'm forgetting the other guy that we got, Paris
Campbell.
Yeah. What is he known for doing? Speed. Going deep.
Speed.
So like
slot guy, he can play the slot. I mean, he can play outside. They have they have the speed there, but I really think, this kid Hyatt, the fact that he's so raw and he's going to get a lot better.
Yeah, he wants
the
to learn.
ceiling is so high. Where these other guys coming out of wide receiver, their ceiling isn't as high because they've already done it.
They already know it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
They come in like they know it all. This kid literally came in with like, I got to learn all this stuff. Everyone said that I can't run routes. Well, let's do this. But in the meantime, I know I can always just go deep. When you can always just go deep, right? Like you're good. You're good on a team. If you can run past everybody, right there, that's an asset to have in a receiver.
It affects the game because now you don't have 8 in the box. So now you have 8 in the box for Saquon. But if this kid's on the outside, you can't do that because you're not going to single him up, or he's just going to blow the top off the defense.
I can't wait to see him go up against other cornerbacks of like high quality, like they try to jam him, see if he runs right by him.
And before we get off the Giants, I love Eric Gray. I love them in Oklahoma. I think it was a very sneaky pick by the Giants. They did it because of the Barkley situation for sure. He could be the future RB1 for the Giants. Do not sleep on Eric Gray at all in dynasty leagues.
My only issue with Eric Gray is his actual speed. Like he is one of the shiftier running backs I've seen, and he's got a good quickness. But he's not as fast as Barkley. He just doesn't have that.
No.
He always gets caught. Like he never like breaks away. He doesn't have that speed. But you're right in the sense that he's one of those guys that pivots, shifts, and can go in between stuff. So he's got that Barkley-esque type thing to him. Preseason, he didn't look great because he was playing behind the second line, and they were horrible. But I see him eventually passing what's his face, the old 49er, to become the main backup for Barkley. I think that was a sneaky pick in that sense. But long term, you think he's a long-term running back? Because
I think he's a running back 1. I mean, if you looked at what he did at Oklahoma, he was a bell cow. I mean, he's physical, can run downhill, can catch the ball. I mean, he's not I'm not saying he's Barkley by any stretch, but where they got him, I think that was a sneaky pick.
I think Joe Shane and Brian Daboll are fantastic for the Giants. It's just the way they've changed things in 2 years. Like 2 years ago, it was like, we're going to win 4 games. Like for the last 4 years prior to this last year, It was 4 to 5 wins a year. I wanted to sue the Giants for mental distress and emotional, because they do. They ruin your week. So let me get back, bring this back up. I want to
Yep.
finish filling this out. All right, who else do I see here? All right, I got CeeDee Lamb, right? 88 Cowboys.
Yes, I mean CD is again. I think SA. He's right around that area.
I think he'd be an S, because if he's in the first round and you come by him,
You're
you have
not. Yeah, you got to take him. He's in the that top 5 probably tier of wide receivers for sure. There's no doubt. I mean, he does everything well. He's the number 1 target there now. Yeah, I mean, he does everything you want in a wide receiver.
All right, what did Hyatt wear for jersey number in college?
Who's this?
Hyatt. What college did he
Hyatt
come
was
from?
like 17. He was at Tennessee, so I can look in.
I don't see it. I got an Ohio State guy here. We're in the 17, but yeah. All right.
I think
23.
he's number 11. He might be number 11 with the Giants.
All right, he's not.
I know he was 11 with Tennessee.
So let's go to run what's his face? McCaffrey.
Yep.
Where do we put McCaffrey? He's got to go right next to Barkley, no?
He does, and he's another guy that very easily in the S category. I mean, he won people championships last year with what he did at the end of the year. Big reason why why the fantasy bums won it in our league. The big thing with him though, and you could say Barkley to a certain extent too, is durability. Whereas Barkley's a big, strong guy. McCaffrey, you just wonder sometimes with all the carries that he's had.
When's he going to get popped?
How is he still doing it? You know,
when's he going to take that one hit that ends his career? Because he's not. That's my whole Devonta Smith argument. That's what it's been for years. He has yet to really bulk up. He's at that weight. Man, I weigh more than him, and I don't want to get hit by anybody in the NFL. I would break everything in my body. Patty Mahomes.
All the way up.
So if Patty Mahomes is there, you got to take him.
You can't.
Josh Allen
and Kelsey too.
So but then Josh Allen is right next to Patty Mahomes, no?
He is.
But
I don't think he's got to be in that level, but I don't think he's the same level as Mahomes. I just don't think he has. I mean, you could say the system, but I don't know. Like especially in big games, if we're talking fantasy, he belongs in the S category. Real football, I don't think he does.
Yeah, I say that, and I know some Bills fans, and they get unhappy with that. But in fantasy, we'll put him in the S's. Let's just do it like that. Let's see. This is Herbert. No. Herbert.
I would put him in the A category right now, but talent-wise, if you look at what that offense could be this year, he could very well be the MVP of the league.
See, I would take Metcalf over Herbert in a fantasy draft if it's a start-off draft.
Oh no! Like again,
because we have Herbert
right now. I'm ranking players in a draft. You would probably take DK over Herbert.
So then, do I drop Herbert to the B's? Because Metcalf's in the B's.
Yeah, I'd keep him there. Yeah, because if we're looking at like are you looking at this as first, second, third round?
Yeah, fantasy. These are the guys who take in the first. The S's you have to take in the first round. The A's you could take in the first round. They're there. The B's.
I understand now. Yeah, I understand now. All right.
So I'll give you one. Trevor Lawrence.
All right, but we probably need to put McCaffrey though in the S category if we're going to do that. Trevor Lawrence is good.
What about Barkley then? What about Barkley then?
Yeah, Barkley, you're going to put in the S too. He's not going to make it out of the first round.
And then Waddle, Burrow, and Hill are all A's.
I would keep them in the A for now.
All right, and then Metcalf, we get these guys down in the B's. All right.
Yep.
Let's go with Lamar Jackson. I'm going to say Lamar Jackson's a C, but you might tell me differently.
I really think this year that he is going to take off and he's going to explode. I think everybody keeps, thinking about the old Roman offense. Todd Monken's in town, folks. There's a new sheriff in town. Todd Monken has never finished less than 10th in the league in passing offense. So forget about what they've done in the past. They're not going to, Andrews is not going to be the tight end one that he has been in the past. I think people banking on that, again, aren't looking at the facts. This offense is going to be different. And I think he just signed a new contract. I think he's going to absolutely explode. We'll keep him in the B for now because that's probably where he's going to go. But again, this is another guy that very easily could be the MVP of the league, and I wouldn't blink.
All right, so I'm going to say that what you're saying sounds like you're talking about like an old Camaro that's been in the yard that now has grass growing in it. It's just been there forever. It's just been there, and it's just it's got grass in it. There's mice that live in the gas in the exhaust pipe. It's just and you're saying this year we're gonna start it up, take it to the washer, get it clean, and this baby's gonna rock. See, that's my problem with Lamar. Like, I don't think he can throw the ball very well. I'm not a fan of the way he flicks it. I really don't. I don't think he reads defenses very well either. I don't know how that's gonna change.
He actually has a really good arm, and if you look at what he did at Louisville, he was one of the better quarterbacks his last year at Louisville at throwing the ball over the middle. So
you want to put him above Herbert and Lawrence?
No, I would keep him I wouldn't put him above Herbert. I would keep him in that category right
in
there.
the B's. All right. Cooper Kupp.
I mean,
most people would put him in the S's, but I would put him in the A's because I still don't believe in Cooper Kupp in the sense of like he's this long-term great receiver. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think he's, he was the best wide receiver. He was the number one wide receiver drafted last year, and then he got hurt and missed the year. But that offense isn't the same. It's not the same. Stafford, you don't know what you're getting with Stafford. Was he 36, 37 years old?
I don't think he knows.
I'd put him in the A and see if he comes back. But again, another guy that he's going to go in the first round, though. That's the thing. People are going to be taking him in the first round.
All right. Let's go with Hurts. Where's number one? Does he not?
Yeah.
Are you going to put him in the S's?
You got to put him up top.
God, I hate him. Tua. I would say Tua he's below Burrow, maybe. See, I think Tua is going to have such a great year. Like, I'm such a fan. I've tried to make a trade for Tua. I think he's just this, like, I think if the NFL and all the networks stop focusing on his head every play, and I'm being serious, if we can get out of that for a second and just let the kid play, I think sometimes he throws lollipop passes, right? I've always said that about him that I didn't like. But other times he's just money in the bank. So where would you put him?
He's a surgeon. I would probably put him. The only thing that would hold him back, and trying to be objective about this, is durability. And I'm still worried about that offensive line. So right now I would put him in the B category with Lamar and Trevor.
Okay. Dak Prescott. Oh boy. I put him in the C.
I'd put him in the C too.
Fantasy-wise, he might be higher. Fantasy-wise, he might actually be higher. But what is Dak going to do? Every year, the Cowboys are like, oh, this is our year. Oh, my God, this is the year. Like, oh, Dak looks like this. This is the year. How many times it's like Oprah pushing a new diet every year. Like, if you've had 12 diets, they don't work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and in the real world, if he's your quarterback after last year, you got to be wondering. You have to be wondering, is this the guy that's going to bring us to the promised land? Even fantasy. I mean, he tailed off. New offensive coordinator this year, so we'll see. If it gets better, but I would put him in the C until he can prove he's someone you can get late, and he could be a lottery ticket for people this year.
He could. I just. I'm being serious with Dak. Like, he's also in a division where he plays the Eagles twice, the Giants twice, and you still have to play the Washington team twice. And as mediocre as they might be, they got a good defense, and they always play the Cowboys rough. So he's got 6 games ahead of him that I'm not a big fan of Dak in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, tough teams. Please playing, there's tough teams in that division.
All right, Kyler Murray.
Oof.
Right? Because you want to say B, but he
I wouldn't even say B. I mean,
except a C.
I would put him in the C category right now. I would keep him there. And you got to look at that team, completely new coach, completely new offense. He was in an offense that was predicated on the pass.
Yep.
And he still was not, he still wasn't playing at an elite level. They have no weapons at all. They have James Conner. That's about it. Hopkins is gone. That team is devoid of weapons. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. So, plus he's coming, you don't know when he's going to start playing, coming off a serious knee injury. If he can't run, that's going to take a lot away from him. He's 5'10".
Yep.
I would keep him in the C category until he.
You remember the stat I came up with last year on Kyler Murray? Whenever there was a Call of Duty double points weekend, he would lose the following Sunday. And they actually had Twitter video of him playing at like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, just going, playing Call of Duty the whole time. He was actually yelled at by the team for his video game playing and his video game, whatever. Oh, traded Amon and Dobbins for Eckler.
And who? And
Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins, and Amon whatever his name's Brown for Eckler. Is that a win?
Is it a dynasty or is it a keeper? What is it?
It's got to be a keeper, right? If he's trading them, unless they already did the draft. But Amon St. Brown is a great receiver, and
I don't think it's a dub. Amon St. Brown is going to be the bell cow receiver this year with Jameson coming off suspension, and Dobbins is going to have a resurgent year. Redraft. Oh, it's a redraft. Yeah, you know what? Eckler for 1 year I think is good, but I think you're going to see Eckler starting to get phased out. They didn't give him the big contract extension this year, so he's one and done. He's going somewhere else. We've seen with running backs, there's no guarantee he's going to go to a better place or he's going to be a starter where he goes somewhere else. Great player. I love him. I have him in one of my dynasty leagues.
Yep.
But I think Dobbins and Brown, Dobbins is going to be a stud this year.
Yeah, if Dobbins has a good year, right, that's almost close to Eckler. Then you already know.
Because St. Brown is going to be the stud for Detroit. He's going to catch a ton of ball. We saw it last year. This kid is, he's money. I do like Eckler, but I don't know if I would have made that deal.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not trying to be negative. Al Boss God, I wouldn't have made that trade myself. I don't. Eckler doesn't blow my socks off, as they would say. Let's see, Ray. We got we get Kenny Pickett. D, right? Just D.
Put him in D, but the arrow's going up for Pittsburgh. That's all I'm going to say. If you're in a dynasty league and Pickett's around and people have dropped him, you need to pick him up because that team they're on the rise. That GM knows what he's doing. They're rebuilding. They have a good coach. They're going to have a good defense. I like a lot of their young players. I love Pickens. Pickens is going to be a stud. They already have Deontay Johnson. They have a great tight end. They're on the rise. He's going to be D, but he's going to probably outplay that.
See, so Kenny Pickett with his little hands, I think, improved last year. His hands did not get bigger, but I think he showed some improvement. I also think that the Steelers never have a losing season, and I think that they're the shock team out of the AFC that can make games ugly with whoever they play, and always be in it or win games. Like the Steelers could be pretty good this year because they play an ugly physical game. They don't have to have all that other stuff going on. Amon was a flex for me. Instead of starting Amon and JK, I'm starting Judy and Eckler. I don't even agree with that. I would take Amon over Judy. But we can all say what we want, I guess.
With Peyton now in Denver, it'll be interesting to see if Judy ends up being his Michael Thomas. If Judy is his Michael Thomas, then I think you're okay. If it's Cortland Sutton, then you're not. Because if you look at that team, I mean, Michael Thomas was the bell cow. He was the X. It depends what they're going to do with Judy. Now, I've not been a Judy fan. He has the talent, but he's always underperformed on that offense. If I'm looking at Judy or St. Brown, it's St. Brown every day and twice on Sunday.
So that's what I'm saying. So we unfortunately disagree with both both moves. Ray, let's bang a couple guys up. Let's blow through a couple guys real quick. What about Stephon Diggs? And then what's his name from the Raiders? Boy, help me out. The receiver from the Raiders.
Oh, Davante Adams.
Yeah. So where would Diggs and Davante Adams go? First round?
Yeah. The only problem with Diggs, and I've been saying this to everyone that'll listen to me, is I think Davis is going to start.
Gabe Davis, yeah,
is going to start to take targets away.
He is.
And I think he's going to start to take the mantle away from Diggs. And this happens wherever Diggs goes. Unfortunately, with the offseason, with the questions, with the, this always happens to Diggs wherever he goes. It happened in Minnesota. It's happening now in Buffalo. Talent-wise, he's first round. There's no doubt. But I think Davis is going to start to take away looks. I think Dalton Kincaid is going to start taking away looks. So
want to go A?
I'd go A. Put him in A.
All right. And then I forget his name again from the Raiders. Davante Adams.
Davante Adams. I mean, I think Davante Adams, he is the only target with the Raiders. Now that could be bad because he's going to be doubled and tripled every time. I mean, no Waller. Renfro is not going to, draw, coverage on the other side like he would. Talent-wise, he's an S. I would probably put him in the A too.
Okay.
And I know that's crazy because talent-wise, he's probably the best in the league. But
so, all right, let's bang out a couple more though. Addison with the Vikings.
Yeah, I'd put Addison in the B. Now that offense, they had like the best neutral pass rate in the league. So they're going to throw the ball. And this kid can do it from anywhere. His dominator ranking, both at Pitt and USC, were off the charts. He is going to be eventually the number 2. But I think Osborne is going to, I think Osborne's going to probably be better than a lot of people think he's going to be in that offense because he's got the frame. Addison's kind of slight, but the kid, former Biletnikoff winner, he eventually will be elite, but put him in the B right now.
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews, again, I know he's been an elite tight end. He is an elite tight end. I'm not going to say he's not an elite anymore. I think it's going to change this year. I don't think he's going to be the focal point. They added a bunch of other weapons. OBJ's there. They drafted Flowers. I think he's going to be, I don't think he's going to be in that elite top 3 anymore. But he's going to be drafted in the B area this year.
Okay. The 2 49ers receivers, Debo and I don't know, number 11 and number 19. I can barely
Ayuk.
Ayuk is what number is Ayuk?
Ayuk's 11.
So Debo's 19, right?
Yeah.
All right. Where do you put Debo and Ayuk?
Right now, I think they're 1A and 1B. And you may think I'm crazy, but Ayuk is 1A and Debo's 1B.
I would put Debo in the S category, but if we want to put him in the A, I could settle with that.
Yeah, if you look at what happened last year, that team, they basically went to Ayuk. I mean, I know, he became the go-to guy. Now, I think talent-wise, they're both A's. They're both A's, and you should probably keep them there. But I really think Ayuk passed them last year.
I think it's. I don't really believe in Ayuk, but I'd have him in the B's. I think I would think he'd be around Metcalf and Addison and Andrews, but we can put him in the A's for now. We can be controversial.
He's going up. I mean, he had 1,000 yards. He had, good touchdown category last year. I mean, he was the guy last year.
All right, Eagles receiver wearing number 6. I don't follow the Eagles. I refuse to remember who this is. Is this AJ Brown?
No, that's Devonta.
So where do you put Devonta?
I put Devonta in the A category too.
Okay.
I love what he did last year. I love.
the
I mean, it was kind of skewered because the Goddard was hurt, and that's kind of when he ascended at the end of the year. I mean, he won a lot of leagues last year at the end of the year.
I'm not going to disagree with that. All right, let's blow through some quarterbacks. The Packers QB, I believe that's Jordan Love, number 10.
I'm going to put Jordan in this in the. I'm going to put him in the C category.
All right.
He's looked better, but he's still not what they thought he was.
I agree. I don't. They're not. They can't be happy with Jordan Love. Like the Packers are going to finish last in the North. The Bears are going to be better than them. The Vikings will be a B+ all the time, and then the Detroit, in my opinion, it's them and the Eagles for the most talented roster from 1 to 53. So
yeah, I agree.
I feel bad for the Packers. Yeah. All right. What else we got for a quarterback here? The Panthers quarterback, the rookie. Isn't that the quarterback?
Yeah, I'm gonna put him in this. I'd put him in the C category right now.
Who is the Panthers quarterback?
Bryce Young.
All right, he wears 9, I guess. There he is. I'd put him in with Kenny Pickett.
I mean, I don't have a problem putting him in. I think the thing that's going to hold him back is the offense. I mean, DJ Chark is your number one receiver. They got Thielen, who, let's be honest, I think he's on the downside of his career. Mm-hmm. They did have a good defense last year. Their offensive line is probably one of the better offensive lines in football. I think he's going to be a good quarterback eventually. I think he's one of those guys that's going to be the exception with his size.
All right. We'll put him at C and we'll see what happens with him, I think, though. What about let's see. This is like the I think this is the Browns or the Bengals, number 1. In all honesty.
Oh, no, that's Justin Fields. That's Justin Fields.
Justin Fields in the weird Bears thing. Oh boy. So Justin Fields is tricky. I think he's got Herbert level potential this year, maybe. I don't know if I put him
I think I would put him in the B, but he does have A potential this year. I think if his passing yardage improves, and it should now with DJ Moore and with the offensive line, and I mean, if he can develop the passing game, and again, I think that's a team that's going to be behind, so it's going to be a really positive passing script for teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look what he did with his legs. The sky's the limit, really, for him.
All right. Nick Chubb wears number 4, does he not?
No, that's Amari.
Amari Cooper. All right. Oh,
wait, is that the Browns? Is that the Browns? I think
the Browns,
Amari,
number 4.
I thought Amari was 2, though.
Yeah, this looks like Nick Chubb. I'm pretty sure this is Nick Chubb.
Did he change his number?
He may have. They all did the stupid single-digit numbers that I can't stand.
Because he's 24. Is his usual number.
That just looks like just number 4, and that's the running back. I don't think that's
is that the quarterback?
Oh, is that Deshaun Watson? Is he wearing 4?
Yeah. I think it's Deshaun. Yeah.
It is? All right. See, here's my issue with Deshaun. I have him on my team, and I've considered even him as a keeper because I think right now he's a B, but could have a great year because he's had great years before. But I would be happy with putting him as a C as of now, or even a D, to be honest. Where would you put him?
I mean, talent-wise.
Well, talent-wise, he could be here.
Yeah, you know he could be there. I would right now with that offense. I mean, they have decent weapons now. I think if Moore plays, to his potential with Cooper.
He was rusty last year, man. You could tell. Like, you could tell that the whole season had, like, worn on him when he got back in. Like, you know what I mean? What he went through, and then to come back, it was just like, you could tell that he had to warm up. And he got better as the season went on. Like, his final game, he had a decent game.
Yeah, I think he's like B. I'd have to put him in the B category.
All right. Let's go with the Jets. Number 17 must be Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, A? Definitely A.
Good as a Uke, at least, right?
Michael
Thomas?
No, that's Olave.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris Olave?
Right next to him in A. I mean, those two right there, next year they're going to be in the S category. I don't think there's going to be any doubt. They're probably S category this year, talent wise. If you look, I mean, you give Rodgers, now you're catching balls from Rodgers. I mean, look at what he got balls from last year and the quarterbacks that he played with, and now you're playing with Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. All right.
you might want to even put him higher. I don't know, but Olave, Carr is a good deep passer, but he's not the quarterback that Rodgers is.
Definitely not. Definitely not. T. Higgins.
T. Higgins is a solid player. He's got to put him in the B category, but he's like a BA guy for me. He's another guy that wins leagues for owners. He was actually more consistent, I think, than Chase was last year. I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, Chase is the better receiver, more upside, but Higgins is, to me, the floor last year. I thought he was better.
You see, Higgins to me is always going to show up, and he's a physical guy. But like I like T. Higgins, always have. So Atlanta Falcons, we've got number 5, which I think might be Calvin Ridley, and then you got number 6 or 8, which is Pitts. Doesn't Ridley wear 5?
5 might be Bijan, I think.
All right. Yeah, because Ridley, because there's another Falcon that's right next to him right here, but it doesn't look like either one of those guys. So all right, let's put Pitts up. Pitts, I'm gonna put at I'm gonna put him at a C right now because I don't like the way he plays. Right, he doesn't really run the routes correctly. You know what I mean, but I guess other people
too. It could be. Actually, no. I think Bijan is 5.
Yes,
no, he's number 7. He wore 5 at Texas.
All right. So this right here is Pitts. This is Pitts. Yeah. Where do you put Pitts? C, B?
You got to put him at B based on potential alone. Will that be enough? I mean, he burned so many fantasy owners last year. He ruined so many seasons. There's a lot of people that are not going to forgive him that easy, especially Arthur Smith, not throwing him the ball. And it just was baffling.
Yeah, I had him. I got rid of him because I watched him play, and I'm telling you, he doesn't run routes correctly. He just doesn't. I'm being serious. And he didn't catch a lot of. Just whatever. Number 11, AJ Brown from the Eagles. He's gonna be up there.
Top tier. Yeah, he's top tier.
Let's see. Number 10 from the Broncos. That looks like Judy.
Yeah, I would put Judy in that B category, CB category. I'm down on him, but you got to say that he's going to get the opportunity to be that Mike Thomas this year in Denver.
I agree with that. All right. So we got a couple of Falcons here. I'm not sure of 2 Ohio State players, the quarterback and the receiver, number 11.
That'd be probably CJ Stroud.
Mm-hmm. And
I'd put him in that C category. Again, another offense that's not going to be very good. The offensive line you hope is better, and the Patriots put a lot of pressure on him. Again, he's a rookie. It's going to be tough coming out of the gate.
D? Do we put him in D?
Yeah, probably put him in D just to see what transpires there.
What about the receiver out of Ohio State? War 11.
Is that Jackson? It's got to be Jackson, right?
Yep.
I mean, I think coming out, he's one of the better receivers coming out. I don't think there's any doubt. I put him in C for now because of the weapons, but this is a kid that was the top receiver on that team when Olave and Wilson were on the other side. So Wilson and Olave and Jackson were on the same team, and Jackson was the best receiver on that team. He got the most looks. His dominator score was better than the other 2. He was the alpha out of those 3 alphas. So remember that this year when you're in the draft.
All right, number 15 out of for the Gators.
It's got to be Richardson, right? The quarterback.
Yep, Anthony Richardson. I mean, he's got potential, but you can't trust him this year, can you?
I would put him in the C category only because of his ability to run.
All right. I'll agree with that. Number 4 from the Seahawks, is that Lockett? Or is that no, wait, number 9, is that, what's his name? Kenneth Walker,
It's got to be Walker,
yeah,
correct?
number 9. Yep, Walker. Kenneth Walker the 3rd. Where would you put him?
I'd probably talent wise, you got to put him in the B because he's not going to go lower than that. I think he'd probably even end up in the A. The problem there is going to be that rookie, Charbonnet. There's a reason why they traded up for that kid. And Walker doesn't really catch the ball. Charbonnet does, and he does a really good job of it. And he's a bell cow. He's durable. So I think Walker's going to lose out on a lot of touchdowns because of that kid Charbonnet.
Who wears 1 for the Ravens? Is that Rondale? Number 1 right here. Did I move in? It's got to be. That's a Ravens helmet, I believe.
No, that's going to be. Is that Odell Beckham?
Oh, he might be. Is he wearing 1? Is Odell wearing 1 this year?
I think it's got to be Beckham, right?
Maybe if he's wearing number 1. I'm not following him anymore. I refuse to acknowledge where he is. He should have came back home, and that should be the end of it. I think that's. I guess I thought Rondale. Well, are you looking it up, or you want me to?
Well, it says Dobbins.
All right, Dobbins. No, I don't. Is Dobbins number 1? Where's the Ravens?
Oh no. That's Lamar. Lamar has switched to number 1.
Oh, so we got Lamar there twice. 8
Yeah.
and 1.
So Lamar has switched to number 1.
Oh, drop him. All right. So then we have
the
2,
other.
it's no, that's Lamar in 8, and that's Lamar in 1.
Yeah. His new number is 1.
All right. Then the Falcons, there's 2 guys that look like they're wearing 5, a receiver, and then a running back.
It's got to be. Bijan, I think, is 7 though.
Well, all right. I think
it's got to be Drake London. Got to be Drake.
This is Drake right here, catching it. All right. This is Drake London. I would put Drake London in the C's, maybe the B's. I don't know. Let's call this Drake London and the other one Bijan, just for now.
All right. I'd put him in the C for now, but he's probably going to play to the B. He could play to the A. I mean, potential's there, but you get it. Desmond Ritter's a big question. That's going to be the big question mark.
Without a doubt. So let's say this is Bijan.
Put Bijan at the top.
Wow. That much better.
He just walks in, and I think he's going to have a yellow jacket on at some point. That's how good he is.
Wow. All right. We're down to 2 players then. On the Lions, this looks like Hawkinson.
Or is it Amon? Is it Amon?
I can't tell the difference. It looks, but
looks like Amon St. Brown.
All right. Let's say it's Amon. It looks like it's too big for Amon St. Brown, but let's just say it is.
All right. I would put him no lower than A.
All right. And then, Ray, I left for the end, Daniel Jones.
I'm going to put Daniel Jones right now in the B category. And I'm going to preface this by saying I think he could be better than Josh Allen.
Wow. That is a monumental statement. That is, and it's funny that I agree with it because he's a great leader. He's a great he's calm. You know, I was watching him in preseason. His footwork is better. Like, he's throwing the ball better. They're actually saying he's making throws he didn't make last year. He's just more comfortable. He doesn't have to worry about, am I going to be here next year? You know what I mean?
So, yeah, fantasy-wise, we'll see. But he can do everything that Josh Allen can do.
Yep.
Physically, they're the same. He's 6'6". He can run just as fast as Josh Allen.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is so fast. He's so fast. Right, he's faster than his own feet. Like, I've seen him run by defensive backs. Just run right by them. But then again, I've seen him run and fall. Like, he's so fast, he doesn't even know how fast he is. You know what I mean? He runs scared, I guess. Just, like, really quick.
The only thing he doesn't have is the weapons.
Yeah.
Eventually, as the weapons develop, you can't tell me that there's things that Josh Allen can do that he can't.
And the thing is, he might be asked to do a lot of the quick slant, slant and goes, because the receivers the Giants have, he's either going to throw it deep or he wants to get it out of his hands quick to one of these receivers who can make a lot of yak. You know what I mean? Like the Giants have receivers who could make a lot of yak if you get them the ball on a quick slant. And you got Barkley. So yeah, I'm gonna put him at a B. Could he play to an A? Without a doubt. You know what I mean? He
Sleeper,
could be there.
severe sleeper this year.
So let's just go through our S's. Justin Jefferson, Chase, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, CeeDee Lamb, Patty Mahomes, Josh Allen, McCaffrey, Barkley, Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Bijan Robinson. Is there anybody that's left in the A's you think that would have made the S's, or are you comfortable where they're all?
I mean, I'm comfortable where they are now. I think Adams obviously would belong in the S category normally. I think there's guys there like Cooper Kupp that very well at the end of the year.
Or Tyreek Hill,
or
Joe Burrow.
There are some questions with those players right now, but talent-wise, they all belong in the S. But it's not just about talent. That's the problem. It's about the situation. There are other variables that affect, I think, where these players are going to go. By the way, is that Travis Etienne down there?
Yeah, it might be. Yes, that's who it is. Thank you. That's who that is.
Yes, Travis
Where would
Etienne.
you put him?
I would put Etienne in the B category. I will say right now, if you're an Etienne owner, you are really worried about Tank Bigsby right now. You are extremely worried because this kid looks like an absolute superstar.
So, but here's the thing. Here's the good side of this. Coming out of camp, what they've been talking about, because I've been following this. I am an Etienne owner. First off, the two of them are complementing each other tremendously. However, Etienne, they said, has actually gotten better at receiving than he already was. So he's the type of kid who can get touchdowns. He's going to get a lot of catches for you. And I actually think having Tank there benefits someone like him, right? Because Tank will do what a person named Tank will do. And then that allows Etienne to be this receiving back and also this other back to change of pace that's fast as hell and is a really good running back. Like, he's a great running back. So he could be an A, right? I see him up there, at least as that. But with Bigsby there, I would put him. I could accept the B.
Yeah, they're gonna have a good offense, and they're gonna run the ball. And both those guys are obviously starting running backs. There's a reason why they trade up for Tank, but I think if Tank's not there, yeah, I think the sky's the limit. But it may actually help him that Tank's there again. And the good thing with Etienne is last year he was coming back from knee injury, serious knee injury. So, I mean, he should be much better this year.
Yeah, and his receiving is brutal because he can line up as a receiver. Like, he's that good of a receiver, and they're putting him in the slot.
That's why I took him out of Clemson. I mean, that was one of the biggest things with him out of Clemson was his ability to catch the ball in the backfield.
All right, so let me ask you something. Do you see Christian Kirk anywhere on this list?
I don't. I will say, though, that Christian Kirk at the end of the year last year was extremely valuable in that team. He was their guy last year. I know they have Ridley this year, so that is going to hurt Kirk. So that's why that trade that was just made, I have to question that because Calvin Ridley, what you're going to get. Calvin Ridley is going to walk in there and he's the number one receiver. So Kirk now is number 2. Zay Jones, a distant third. Mounts the feed,
That's my point. So you bring up a good point. A lot of people base what they're drafting or who they're trading on like what they did, especially towards the end of last season.
Yeah.
I really think that people will just look at it and what they were left with as a feeling or how the players played down the stretch. Like, they think that they're just going to keep going from that point. You know what I mean? And a lot of them just got into good situations where they could expand their roles. But now the starting season where there's, like you said, more mouths to feed. So you just can't right away say, oh, because he did this in the last 3 games, I know he's going to do that this year without looking at where he is, who he's with, who's around him.
And Ridley has looked fantastic, by the way, in the preseason. So if there are any doubts if he's going to be good this year, Calvin Ridley is going to be very, very good. So Yeah, I mean, Kirk, I think, has to take a step down. He's still going to be the number 2 option in that offense. So with a quarterback that's on the rise, so I'm not saying I think he's a good player to draft. He's someone you probably should target, but he's not the number 1 receiver this year. And I think that's going to be Calvin Ridley.
So just for fantasy owners, for fantasy advice, because and the funny thing is, every message I've gotten so far this season has been about trades, and like everybody's so hesitant to do a trade. And the overvaluing of, like we just said, players that looked good last year, but now they're in different situations. And then the overvaluing of, if you're in a 6-team keeper league, that's 72 players gone. By the end of the second round, that's another 24. That takes us up to 96. After 96, in the third round, Ray, really, come on, we just did that amount of players. They're gone. That's not 96. Not even close. You'd have to almost triple what we just did, and then you're at the fourth round or third round of our league. So I don't get why a third round pick is that valuable in a 16 keeper league of 12 teams. Am I not making sense? I may not make sense when I say this. I just can't figure out our league, why there's such a value on all these third round picks as opposed to players, like a better player at the position. In other words, if I can get a better player at any position, that's what I want to do on my 6. As far as the picks, I'd like to have them, but I'm not valuing them as like, oh, I need a third round pick. Why? Why? And I'm being serious.
Yeah. The problem is everybody is in love with their 6. And that is never going to change. They feel like, that extra pick is worth more than the upgrade in the player. And I think it goes both ways. I think in certain instances,
What's the player?
it could, it's better to get the player, because I've done both. I've traded picks for players. I've traded players for picks. For me, it just depends where I am.
Yeah,
in my team.
Yes, and it's case by case.
I'm competing for a championship.
Yep.
I want the players. I don't care about the picks. I want the players.
Exactly. It's case by case.
Or if I'm a lottery team. If I'm a lottery team and the cupboard's bare, I'm trading my picks, except maybe this year. If I have 101, I'm hanging on to Bijan Robinson. Anyone out there that's going to trade him away is just stupid.
But like even the other picks from even the second round picks. They're basically 8th round picks. They're basically 8th round picks, and people are treating them like they're second round picks. Like I wonder, that doesn't happen in redraft leagues. But in keeper leagues, I wonder if every keeper league is seeing signs of it getting sluggish. Everyone's in love with their 6, which to me is impossible. I think I have a great 6, but I'm not in love with them. In the words that I mean, like, I'm open to hear anything, any kind of offer. If it benefits me in a way, I would make a decision. But like, I'm not in love with them to the point where, no, I'm not touching any of these guys. It's like, well, what do you get to offer? The whole point of fantasy football is, well, what do you get to offer? Let's weigh this thing. Maybe I can get something back in return for this. So it's like, if I had early picks, which I did last year, I would trade them away for better players, which I did. So it's like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I do, because if I don't get a pick before the 7th round, it's just like an auto draft type thing, and the team will fill up, and they'll just be free agents. But I'll still have those 6. I don't know.
And there's different philosophies. I think you're going to look at it. It doesn't matter what philosophy it is. It just matters what the result is. You got to the second round of the playoffs last year. So you got to look at that as a success. Like, all right, you made all those trades and you traded your picks away, but you ended up with 6 really good players. So it doesn't matter what the philosophy is. Everyone has a different philosophy, and maybe different years. Yeah, it's a different way to go around and do it. It just matters what the result is. There's different ways from, A to B.
Yeah, it's just like trading a guy like Pittman, or like I've been trying with Hawkinson. Now, Pittman to me might be a B on that list. He
He
might be.
could be. He could
If
be.
the
But
quarterback can play, he could be a B on that list. Hawkinson last year for me was at least a B. Like he really produced towards the stretch of it. It's do you still trust him? And I've offered him for like 4th round picks, 5th round picks, and I've gotten denied. And it's like the 5th round pick again is an 11th round pick. TJ Hawkinson would be off the board in 11 by the 11th round. Give me a break. So would Pittman. You know this, right?
yeah, someone who doesn't have a solid 6, um, I think Hawkinson for a 5th would, yeah. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. He's never going to make it that far. The only thing I will say about Hawkinson is I think last year the inability of Thielen to get open, I think helped Hawk. I think it really helped Hawkinson. I think this year with Addison, um, I don't think he's going to finish. He's going to be as strong as he was at the end of the year. At the end of last year, he's another one. He won leagues last year, Hawkinson, at the end of the year,
Yep.
in that offense. So, but he's probably a top 5 tight. He's a top 5 tight end right now. So, yeah, if you don't have a solid 6, and for a 5th round pick, yeah, you got to do that. You definitely got to do that.
But Pittman will be number 1 this year, right?
Pittman will be the number 1 receiver. The only issue I have with Pittman, again, and we talked about the Colts, is it's Richardson's first year. And I'll be honest, he disappointed me last year, Pittman. I had him in a couple of leagues, and he was my A guy. Like, he was like I thought he was going to be my number 1 receiver on a bunch of teams, and he didn't play that way. And it's probably not all his fault, because they had major quarterback issues last year. But that's how a player is affected. But he's someone this year that could easily outplay his ADP, because he's going much lower this year, because of the season that they had last year.
Yeah, he kind of shit the bed for me in the playoffs, I'll be honest. But every time I look at him and in the preseason, what he's been doing, he's definitely the number 1 there. He's going to be targeted like 9 times a game. My point is, how much better is Christian Kirk than Pittman?
Well, I mean, the
Fantasy-wise.
offense. If you look at Kirk was that deep guy last year, because he does have that speed, and he kind of gave you that extra, 50-yard touchdown element that Pittman once in a while will get that, because he can out jump somebody. He's 6'4", he's a different type of receiver.
But
I
that
don't like
far
what
away?
Pittman is. He just wasn't that alpha like when he
Yeah.
needed to be. That's the only knock I had on Pittman. Maybe that changes this year. I hope
But
it does.
fantasy-wise, if you were drafting those two, they're kind of close.
They're kind of close. But you got to look at too, like the quarterbacks too, like Trevor Lawrence right now. Richardson will be there eventually, but Trevor Lawrence.
Would you take Hawkinson over Kirk?
I mean, it depends on your league. It depends on the scoring. I love Hawk. Hawk is a top 5 tight end. I don't usually keep tight ends unless it's Kelsey. I'm probably not keeping a tight end, to be honest with you. I'm not hanging on to Pitts. If I'm Alex right now, he has Pitts and Andrews. I wouldn't keep either of those guys, but he's got both of them, and he's made major trades for those guys on his team. And I don't think anybody's going to make a trade with him to get them off his roster. I really don't.
No, and then Kirk, like that again. To get rid of Hurts and you get back Kirk, I don't care.
He's not a number 1. He's not a number 1 receiver.
And the 110 is the 82nd pick in the draft. So is the 82nd pick in Kirk worth Jalen Hurts?
Great trade by Jesse. Great trade.
Yeah, just odd, the connection between the two. You know what I mean? Just weird. Like it would be weird if like Jake traded you like somebody like that. You'd hear the same crap.
Yeah,
like, how did that happen?
That's why I won't make those trades, because and I wouldn't do that, because I know what the response is going to be.
Yeah.
So
in the basketball league, Mike Jr.'s in it, and we've already agreed that we're never going to trade between the two of each other. We're just not doing it, and it makes it so much easy.
Because if something goes wrong, and you got to live with that person, it could be a problem for the whole season. Like, say you make a trade and it's an even trade, but that player like blows his knee.
I want to see what time of night that trade was made. I want to make sure it wasn't like 2 in the morning. You know what I mean? It was like a 3 in the morning trade. Like, cause like
Another bad trade. I don't understand why. Why would you give up Hurts after last year?
But here's what's more confusing. So if you mark and you got the 1-1 and your team is just there's nobody there. Like, in my opinion, his team is a bare team. It is. There's nobody really there. Would you not take the 110 and try to get the best players you possibly? I mean, the 1-1 and try to get the best players you could, or would you just take Bijan and struggle for a couple more years? I don't see things moving forward. I would trade that. You would just take him?
Absolutely take Bijan. I wouldn't. I would just be like,
for two starters,
reject. This kid, he's again generational talent. He's got other picks too in the first round, so he is going to be
1-9. Yeah,
his team isn't that bad. I mean, if you look at his roster, it's actually not that bad. I don't know why he had such a bad year, but he does have some decent players. Let's go through his roster.
I'll tell you right now, he's got Prescott and Wilson as quarterbacks. Right?
I mean,
his running backs are Beck, Eckler,
Najee.
We just talked about Eckler, though, the whole problem with it. Fournette,
right. Eckler and Najee.
Not Najee Harris, I'll take. But then there's receivers. Aguilar.
Receivers are non-existent. He has
Bourne, Corey Davis, Galladay, A.J. Brown, Devontae Parker, and Juju Smith. And then he's
keeping Kittle. He's going to keep Kittle, though.
He's got Knox and Kittle. Yeah, but his keepers rate will be Kittle, skip the receivers, Najee Harris, Eckler, and then who? I only named 3 people. I'm being serious. I see 3 keepers.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe he keeps Dak and it goes to 4. But like, in other words, if I had the 1-1 and 1-9, I would have the best 6 I could get. I would just shop and make sure I got people that are actual keepers. No offense to him at all. He's got his own draft strategy. This is not me like ragging on him.
He's not going to trade because I offered him Amari Cooper, Alexander Madison, and Alvin Kamara, and other things, and he would not budge.
And he would keep Madison, Kamara, right? They all 3 would make his team. They all make his starters. They're all starters. They would be in that 3. With the other 3 I just mentioned, you'd add those 3 and that'd be his 6.
He not interested.
And he still has all his other draft picks in the rounds.
Yeah, so he's got 2 first-round picks. He's got multiple second-round picks. I mean, he did add some picks. He made some trades at the end of the year last year, which was smart, and he ended up with the first pick in the draft. But again,
when you only have 3 that are legit, and the other 3 you got to wonder about, how good are those picks going to be?
Yeah, I don't know who he's going to keep for his 6. It'll be interesting.
There's just a couple teams like that just they confuse me, and it is whatever it is. I guess some people have thoughts in their heads about certain players. Like some people value certain players higher than others. Some people have, though. Like there's some teams that have no running backs. There's some teams that have no wide receivers at all, and it's weird because then there's other teams that have tons of both. Like it's going to be a weird year. I think it's going to be a very odd fantasy year. I think there's going to be a lot of different teams that move up. And I think a lot of teams in our league that are going to drop to the bottom because they do not have the foundation of the 6. I guess the point we're trying to get across to fantasy owners, if you're in a keeper league and it's a 6-team keeper league and there's 12 teams, you need the best possible 6 you can go into that draft with, no matter what. That's how I feel. You want to make sure your foundation is as good as possible. You can't go in with just 3 guys and be like, maybe I'll keep a quarterback and a tight end or something like that. You can't. You got to have a plan like that. You need to have a plan. So the guys with the early picks that have teams that are rough, I don't understand that. I feel like everyone doesn't want to. They just don't. Trades and all that. I don't know why trades don't happen anymore. they only happen when they're very lopsided, weird ones. And they just don't generally happen because, like you said, I guess they're in love with their 6. And I don't think you can be in love with fantasy players. You have to be business minded in that sense and be like, yeah, I love this guy. I think he could do great. But if you're gonna need these 2 other guys, maybe I'll have a better team with these other 2 guys, right? I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ray,
Yeah.
if I had to ask you right now to end this, who would you say is going to be in the Super Bowl this year? Because I have my prediction, and then I have my fantasy prediction. So I have like 2 different versions. Who do you like though coming out of the AFC and the NFC?
I think the Chiefs are going to be better than last year. So I have to put the Chiefs in that category. I don't think they should have made the Super Bowl last year. They had so many injuries, rookie 7th round pick at running back. It has to be the Chiefs. Nothing has changed. They should be better. So I don't see how they don't make it on the AFC side. And on the NFC side, I thought the Niners would have been a team last year. There's question marks with Brock Purdy. I mean, the Eagles, it's tough to pick against them after what happened last year. So I'd probably have to say the Eagles beating the Niners in the championship game. And I think you have a rematch from last year.
All right, so I will give you what I keep thinking it's going to be. Here's my fantasy scenario: a Subway Super Bowl. And as bizarre as that sounds, it could happen because the Jets got to be considered one of the best teams in the AFC this year. I think they will be, right? And the Giants in a weak NFC. Other than like the Lions, the 49ers, the Eagles, maybe the Cowboys, other than that, the Vikings, we're not that worried. They could make a run, right? It could be a Subway Super Bowl. But what I do see is I see the Eagles in the Super Bowl, unfortunately, right? And I've said this a couple times, no one wants to listen. It might be the Miami Dolphins. You could have Dolphins versus the Eagles. I think that Jets, Dolphins, and Bills all make the playoffs. I know I haven't come in 1, 2, 3 like that, but they all get in. And I can easily see the Dolphins getting hot with their receivers, the defense they have up front, whatnot, being a threat. If Tua balls out, the Dolphins make the Super Bowl. It's weird for me to say this, but like, I actually, for the first time in the last like 8 years, maybe more, feel like our teams could be in the Super Bowl. Like the Giants and Dolphins have a chance of making the playoffs and advancing. They have a chance at least, right?
Yeah, it really depends on Tua. And I mean, if he plays, their defense has to be better with Fangio. I mean, it just has to be. He everywhere he's been, he's had solid defenses. They did lose Ramsey for most of the season. That's going to hurt. They sign Apple. It's really the defense, the offensive line, and Tua. If those questions are answered, they're strong everywhere else. But I mean, the Giants, I think the Giants are 2 years away. I think they're going to be much better this year. I think in 2 years, I think they will be competing for a Super Bowl because their drafts have been, the last 2 years have been unbelievable.
Yeah. See, so the thing with the Giants is this, because I'm a Giants fan, I just always know that there's always that chance the Giants go on a roll. I mean, we have that in us, even though it's a new team. I just always feel like that. But what I will say is, like I'm just happy that I feel like there's a chance they could be good. I'm happy with that, and I think they're probably like a year away because again, in the NFC, the 2 most talented rosters have to be, in my opinion, the Eagles and then the Lions before the 49ers. Like the Lions just, goddamn, man, if the Lions make the Super Bowl, I would not be shocked.
No, the Lions are solid. I mean, everywhere. I mean, and look what they did with their defense this year in the draft. I think that's where they're going to improve the most. They're solid at every position, and they have drafted well. The question with the Lions will be Jared Goff. But I think they have a kid that they drafted this year in Hendon Hooker that could be one of the best quarterbacks in the entire draft.
Yep. No, I'm with that. It's going to be it's going to be a fun year because it's going to be, like I said, teams like the Steelers that are going to like make games ugly. Like, remember how the Texans were last year against the spread?
Yeah.
Like they were brutal. Like they were in the game and they played ugly with everybody.
every week.
Yeah, they just did. So I see the Steelers as that type of team, and the Seahawks as the NFC type of team that can be that thorn that just, you know what I mean, makes it ugly and gets in there.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be an interesting year. I think you're going to have, and again, a lot of people get stuck on last year, year before, and they don't look into the future. Any of our viewers out there getting ready for fantasy drafts, this year is completely different from last year. You know, you
Yeah.
can use history to base your decisions, but you have to look at what has changed. What are the variables that have changed since last year that are going to be completely different this year? And we see it every year. There are players that won't be drafted that will win fantasy titles for teams.
You are drafting for the 2023 season. You're not drafting for the 2022 season. Right? Yeah, I agree with that.
You have to think that way.
What do you got to say, Ray, to wrap it up? And you want to promote? And you want to?
No, I'm looking forward to talking about this every week. We can start getting into depth on some of the rookies that are coming out to kind of help our viewers, get ready for their drafts. Talk about some of the tiers a little bit. Talk about some of the sleepers. We all know who the studs are. Again, I think the most value for people out there is just kind of getting some of those hidden gems that can help them win.
Yeah. That's in hope that like everybody's competitive. You know what I mean? If it's going to be a competitive league, that's when the gems come into play. If everybody had a strong six, like if you looked at everybody's team and you like they all have strong sixes, now the draft comes into play. But when you see a couple teams that don't, you think might not be as big a deal. I don't know. We'll see.
I agree.
All right. So for Brother Ray, it's me, Mike Leprey, King Mike Hill. This was Legit Fantasy Football, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. Tonight we have Legit Paranormal at 7:05. Me, Buddy Thayer, and Sin Schrader Hill, author. I don't know who our guest is. Hello, Pam Harris. And I hope to see everybody tonight. Ray, the podcasting started here with the football. It was our foundation, and then it became paranormal. So there's legitimately roughly eight shows, 8 1-hour podcasts that happen throughout the week. I'm not even on some of them, which is so great. Like I don't have to be there; they just go.
You guys have expanded. The Paranormal Show is unbelievable. All the shows are unbelievable. It's amazing the guests that you guys continue to get. These guys are authorities in the field.
Assistant director of MUFON from Arizona. That's who we've got to have on twice. I got to talk to him twice. And what he told me off air is much more terrifying than anything he said on air. Like, yeah. Well, I mean, it's getting good. And is it Sidelighter? What's that local brewery? Sideliner?
I think it's Sideliner. Yeah.
They're
on the show too?
No. I think Buddy is in the works. He's not keeping me in the loop very well, but we're supposed to have a beer come out with them for Halloween.
That's great.
The issue I had with him was he sent it to me, and the name Legit wasn't in the name of the beer. And I don't even understand how that can be. Like, I'm like, well, doesn't the name Legit have to be in it? How are they going to know it's us? Like, how is it our beer if our name's not in it? Does that make sense to you? Like,
nah.
Shouldn't it be Legit and then whatever you want to call it? Like, shouldn't that be the name? So, yeah, I got to make sure, buddy, because I sent an email to the gentleman that works for the brewery saying, I like the ideas. I just think it should be Legit, and then I put whatever their title was. And I think the title works well, and I think it's a good idea. And it's going to be a really different style beer, which I'm very excited about. I feel like I have to keep reminding people, put Legit there, because they're not going to know it's us.
Right. Yeah, I look forward to tasting it.
Yeah, right. All right. We'll see you guys tonight. Every Sunday, 11:05. You'll catch us here. We'll be able to help you with your last second fantasy ads and when we agree on bets, our locks. If you go back over the last 2 years, we're over 70% on locks. Right, that's ridiculous. Because maybe we have 3 locks to 5 locks each week. We don't know. We don't know how many we're going to have, right? Depending on how many people are on the show, too. But those locks, The fact that we're at 70% over 2 years, and the proof is that you can just go watch all the shows, right? We've been technically doing fantasy football for, I think, 5 or 6 years now. Whether it's like 2 or 3 here, and then we did like another 2 it's been a long time, and our picks have been really good, and I like getting more people on the show because everyone has their different opinion, and it almost will change your mind. I've had my opinion change on games by listening to you or by listening to Matt. If I hear something that makes sense to me, I go, "Oh, I'm gonna change that." So, it's good to bounce, ideas around when it comes to the bets. I like to hear other people's sides, and then that helps me formulate things, and then when we agree, again, like I said, locks over 70%. So, I will be on Whatnot in 4 minutes trying to sell some memorabilia. Then I'll be on again tonight at 7:05. It just does not stop. I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm so excited for this